Hello legends, welcome to a new video. In this I will show you top 10 decks to climb the legend with at the start of the next season. We'll start with the Aggro Paladin. And excuse me please for not having all the cards. I'm a free-to-play player, I've never put any money and didn't buy any packs and bundles, so I don't have all the cards, but you can see the deck, so I hope it doesn't matter. So the first deck that is emerging right now is Aggro Paladin. It's really quick and it's mostly abusing the little 1 or 0 cost minions and then buffing them with your Busybot or the Tortola Storyteller and Flash Sale or the Crusader's Aura. You also have some late game like the Ziliax that buffs your other minions and Resin Mole to tutor the Ziliax. If you don't have Toy Captain Tarim and don't want to craft him, there is no need to craft him. You can skip the Toy Captain Tarim and get yourself a Royal Librarian. That guy that silences the silencer, yeah, this guard. You can switch the Tarim with the Royal Librarian, and otherwise this deck is really cheap and you can use it to climb to legend really effectively. The next deck is also aggressive and it's Beast Hunter. It's abusing all the Beast synergy and you have in the late game the Chief Esho that will buff all your beasts to +2/+2. You also have the Supreme Dinomancy potential with the RC Rampage. But the main thing is to put pressure early. Put pressure with the Scarab Keychain, Catch of the Day, Dreambound Raptor. Buff your beast with Painted Canvas Hour and stuff like that. You also have Ball of the Spiders for some more value. And you can potentially kill your opponent like turn 6 or 7 when you use the Supreme Dinomancy or City Chief Esho to buff and deliver the final blow. The next deck is also Hunter, and it's Handbuff Hunter. It's a little bit scammy. You are most relying on the Bubbling Bellhop and the Mythical Runbear. You buff those beasts. The best buff is a reserved spot, because it will give you +4/+4 and reduce the cost by 2. So you can play like turn 3, 7/7 Bubbling Bellhop, and even with the Capo Muscle you can play your very big beasts, and most of the decks in today's meta won't be able to answer it, and you will be in easy spot to kill them. Maybe later with the Furious Foul or your Hero Power. You also have some removal like Death Roll, and the worst card is Ranger Gilly, but we have to play it because we need the... oh shit. Yeah, we have to play the Gilly because we need to play the Capo Muscle, which is the Warrior card, and Reserve Spot, which is also Warrior card. But this deck is really good for climbing. You also have Deadly Shots, most likely against another Hunters that will try to scam you, or against the Warlocks that will try to scam you with their Dorian, or against the Warriors with Tortola plays. Next is also aggressive deck, but I hope this is the last one. This deck is mostly similar with the pre-patch aggressive Demon Hunter. Some cards that were added to this deck are Infestation from the last set and also the Insect Claw, which will give you some additional burn. And this is pretty straightforward. You just maintain the presence on the board from the early game with the Battle Fiend or Sock Puppeteer. You also have Blood Mage Talons for potential dealing more damage with your Infestation, and then Kane or Arana to secure the victory and final blow. Next deck is Cycle Rogue. This is very good in high legend. The main goal is just to cycle through your deck and empty it, and if your opponent is not dead yet, because you played the Giants, you played the Giants most likely on turn 5 or 4. Even on turn 3 it's possible to play them, but average is like turn 4-5. And if your opponent isn't dead, you can play Incendious on turn 7 and then draw the whole deck of your eruptions, even put maybe the Blood Mage Talons on the board for the additional +1 spell damage, and that could be like 15 damage from your deck. So this is pretty good deck, but it's also not that simple to play. But I would recommend to try it and see how it goes. Also the Warlock Tourist is one of the worst cards as well. You don't want to draw this card. You want to play it. It can save you sometimes, but it's most likely there eat the imp. Okay, let's go for the next. Next is Dummy Warrior, one of my favorite classes is warrior, and one of my favorite decks is this right now, because you are just relying on your testing dummy that you can cheat out by the part scrapper with stuff like shield block or safety goggles. And as soon as like turn 4 you can play testing dummy for 1 into the Recam and Decam, and maybe later on cube it. You also have Elise Navigator, which you most likely always go for the 1 cost location, and you want to find summon a 1/1 copy of a minion, because you can summon 1 copy of a cubicle or 1/1 copy of a dummy. And usually in turn 7 or 8 you play your Umbra, and it can deal like 5 times 8, that's like 40 damage, randomly split among all enemies, so you're most likely killing your opponent. And also I forgot to mention there is chemical spell with Tortola that will summon it, and you can then swap the stats with Quartz Alchemist and most likely OTK your opponent. Then there is Protoss Priest, which is really good control deck, which feasts on the control decks, because once you play the motherships, most likely reduced with cost like to 6 or 7, you will get a lot of minions like Colossus or Dark Templars, and you can kill your opponent most likely like OTK as well. So turn 10, turn 11 could be the end of the game. Very good deck, because you are also using your Resuscitate that will most likely summon your sentries, each of the day, and sometimes the 3/4 chargers or the 3/2 rushers. Also, if you don't have the Narayan so fancy, it's possible to cut it and instead use Gravedown Sunbloom. And now there is the Meta Tyrant, which is the Dorian Warlock. This is a version with the Summoner Dark Marrow and is using some of the Death Knight cards, which is probably the best version right now. You play your Puppet Master Dorian, or your most likely first you Fracture Power on the turn 2, then on turn 5 or 6 you play Puppet Master Dorian with your Catacombs that will draw you most likely the Agamaggan. You will play Agamaggan, 1/1 copy of Agamaggan that you get from Dorian, then you play the 10 mana cost of Agamaggan for your opponent's health, and then you play most likely Ysera to create big body on a board, or you can play Sheladar, you can play Kerrigan and overwhelm your opponent. But this deck is, I even don't play this version of deck. I used this second version that's like pure Dorian, and it's like similar, but it's not having the Death Knight shell. It's pure like Solarium and stuff like that. Solarium you can use as well with the Puppet Master Dorian to draw you hopefully 3 minions and get the 1/1 copies of it. Next deck is a control deck. It's Aggro DH. The main objective of this deck is to create as many Aggro Defense Crystals with a cube, or return them back with the Ferocious Fellbat. You also have the 3 mana spell, Return Policy. You love to trigger it with the Ferocious Fellbat, which will summon two Aggro Defense Crystals. In late game, the Ferocious Fellbat can also summon your starships, which is lovely, and you want to see that. If your starship survives a turn, you can just attack with it and then dissolving ooze it, and then put the stats on the Kane Sun Fury to kill your opponent. This deck is really good, but it's not favorite like against the Protoss Priest, because the Protoss Priest will probably kill you first. Next, I also mention the Death Knight. The Death Knight with the control package. This is like the most control, but the games will take like half an hour, because you have Kill Jaden, you have your Starship package, you have Enchant of your Arcana Defense Crystals, you have a lot of removal like White Parliament with Poison Breath, you also have your 5 mana spell Corpse Explosion, you have High Cultist Heron for your piece of Starships like the Spellbound Spire and the Arcana Defense Crystal. Yeah, and you would like to survive as long as possible and then overwhelm your opponent with the demons from the Kill Jaden portal. But the mirror matchups are taking a long time, so I don't like this deck. Okay, then there is something new that emerged over the last week, and it's Elemental Mage. It's kind of aggressive version. You just like to kill your opponent as soon as possible, with a lot of burn here at the end, but it's not that good of a deck. If you have all the cards, you can try it, but I would recommend others. But this is also a possibility if you like elemental synergy. And then this is only one deck with the quest from the Lost City of Angora. This is Super Control Taunt Warrior that is abusing the Tortola with Hydration Station. You have Marine Ham the Hungry, you have Bob for freeze or for a copy. You can also copy the Kill Jaden if you're playing against the Starship that night. And you have Elise, which you would like to copy probably one of your taunt minions. And basically you'll play it. If you play against some aggro deck, you want to survive. You have some shield blocks, you have brawls, you have hostile invaders, and you have the potential to destroy the board that your opponent is creating. And at the late game, once you finish the quest, you will get the rewards, and you most likely could OTK your opponent with the Time Warp and playing the Galvadon. That will have Wind Fury +3 attack, and you can deal like 30 damage OTK for the next turn once you play it. Yeah, I suggest this. I like Warrior, so I suggest this to try. I will also try it later today and post you a video this week. Yeah, and that was all. That's all for this video. I sorted it from the best to the worst, so if you like to have the most success, you will probably need to use the Aggro Paladins. Yeah, you will need to use the Aggro versions or Aggro decks. These top 4. Psycho Rogue is a bit of skill-based deck. Dummy is a very simple, straightforward deck. Protoss Priest as well. Dorian Warlock and Dorian Warlock, they are pretty straightforward control decks. Aggro DH really wants to outlive your opponent, you have gained ton of armor. You have also the Shipwrecked Knight, that also want to outlive your opponent. Elemental Mage is kind of hybrid, new kind of deck. Maybe not that good, and Quest Warrior is not that good, but it's pretty fun. I hope you liked some of the decks, I hope it will help you climb to the legend. And that's all for today's video. Thank you for watching. If you like it, subscribe please, it will really help me. And comment which deck will you try to climb legend the next month. See you guys and bye.